When you factor by grouping, you're generally going to have 4 terms, sometimes 6, and I'll make sure you see one of those examples at the end. Here's the goal that you're looking for. You want to match and then the leftovers. The match is really just the common factor that you're going to see that you have. And so that's our goal. Let's take a look at the first one. We're going to take the first 2 terms and group those, and the last 2 terms and group those, hence the title, Factor by Grouping. You're going to take out the greatest common factor of each one. So it's going to feel like 2 separate problems. In the first group, I see that they both have an x squared. So I'm going to factor that out. So if you have x to the third, but you take out x to the second, you're left with x to the first. You had 3, you took out 2, so you just have 1. Plus 2x squared, but factoring out the x squared just leaves you with a 2. Plus, take out your second factor, which is a 5. That's the greatest common factor of the second term. So 5x, take out the 5, you're left with x. Plus 10 divided by 5 is 2. And then you see that you have your match. And again, we said the match is just really a common factor that both have. So write down your match, which is x plus 2, and then write down what you're left over with. If it's helpful to you, kind of just cross out that match because you took it out, the common factor of both, and you have x squared plus 5 that's left over. And you have factor by grouping. Let's take a look at the second example. So let's group the first 2 and the last 2. You're just going to take out the greatest common factor of each. So if I take out the greatest common factor, I see they both have a 3 and they both have an x squared. So 3 divided by 3 is just 1. X to the third, take out x to the second, is going to leave you with an x to the first, but you don't have to write that 1 unless you want to. Plus 3 goes into 18 6 times, and your x squareds cancel. Then here we see that they both have an 8, so take out an 8. And 8x, take out the 8, you're left with x, plus 48 divided by 8 is 6. And again, I have my match, or a common factor to both terms. Take out your match, x plus 6, and again, if you need to take them out, then you can see you have left over 3x squared plus 8. And that's your final answer. Now, sometimes people will write the 3x squared plus 8 first and then write the match, and that's fine. You'll see that both of those are equivalent answers. All right, let's take a look at example 3. And if you'd like to, pause the video, try it on your own, and then come back and check to see how you did. So we're going to group the first 2 and the last 2 by taking out the greatest common factor in each group, like it's just 2 separate problems. In the first 2, I see they both have y squared. So if I have y to the third, or 3 of them, and I take out 2 of them, it leaves me with just 1 of them, y to the first, minus, if you have 7y squared and you take out the y squared, you just have your 7. In the second group, you have a 4. So 4 goes into 4y with just the y left over, minus 4 goes into negative 28, negative 7 times, which it's important because you have to match. And you have to match perfectly, letters, variables, the signs, everything, like identical twins. So then I'm going to write down my match, which is y minus 7, and my leftovers, which is y squared plus 4. Y squared plus 4. And again, take that common factor out visually if you need to see it. Okay, let's take a look at example 4. In these examples, I've been grouping the first two and the last two, but if for some reason it doesn't work, like you don't get what you need, this match leftovers, you can always rearrange your terms and take maybe the first and the third or the second and the fourth. Let's take out greatest common factor. I see that x squared, and again, pause the video and try it on your own just to check and see how you're doing. So I have x to the third, but I take out x to the second, so I'm left with just an x, plus 5x squared, but take out your x squared, you just have a 5. Here, you want to be careful with these signs because we just said you have to match perfectly. I'm confident you know to take out a 4 because that's what 4 and 20 have in common. But I need to take out a negative 4 because I need a negative to divide by a negative to give me a positive x. And I need a negative 20 to divide by a negative 4 to give me a positive 5. Most of the time, whatever sign is there is going to be the sign that you're going to take out, but just be mindful, like negative divided by negative to get positive and match. Negative divided by negative to get a positive, so we match. So you have your match. We're going to take that out, the common factor of x plus 5, the match, and see what you're left over with. I'm left over with x squared minus 4. X squared minus 4. Now be really careful because this right here can actually factor more. It's a difference of 2 squares. And if you have forgotten how to factor a difference of 2 squares, I have video and practice worksheet on it, so you can go and check that out. But with a difference of 2 squares, we're just going to bring this down because we can't touch that. But with a difference of 2 squares, it's a difference, so that's first part, you got to have a minus sign. And these two terms have to be perfect squares. That just means the same thing times the same thing multiplies to get it. Like to get x squared is x and x. To multiply to get 4 is 2 times 2. Then you must have a plus and a minus for your signs. That's because a positive times a negative has to multiply to get a negative 4. It's very common when you're factoring by grouping to end up with this situation where you have a difference of 2 squares at the end. All right, let's take a look at example 5. And again, pause that video and try it on your own if you'd like. All right, so we're going to group the first two and the last two, taking out the greatest common factor from each group. In the first two terms, I see that they both have n to the second power. So take out n squared. 3 of them, take out 2 of them, leaves me with 1 of them, but you don't necessarily have to write that. Plus 7n squared, but take out the n squared and you have a 7. Here, we're going to take out a 9. But in order for our signs to match, it needs to be a negative 9 so that we have negative divided by negative to give us positive n, and negative divided by negative to give us positive 7. Then I have my match, which is n plus 7, or the common factor that they both have. So n plus 7, take out that common factor, and see that you're left with n squared minus 9. So n squared minus 9. And just like before, that's actually a difference of 2 squares. So that means we can factor it more. Bring down your n plus 7. Difference of 2 squares. Whatever do I square to get n squared is n times n. Whatever do I square to get 9 is 3 times 3, and you need to have a plus and a minus. Okay, let's take a look at number 6. Again, if you'd like to, pause the video and try it on your own. So let's group them, the first two and the last two. This one's good. It's got a little twist at the end there. So we're going to take out the greatest common factor. 25 is a number that goes into both, and they both have at least an x squared. So the 25s cancel. X to the third, 3 of them, take out 2 of them is 1 of them, minus 25 goes into 100 4 times, and the x squareds just cancel. Now, look at this second term right here. They technically don't have anything in common. So what I'm going to do is just say 1. 1 is the only thing they have in common. And do you notice how closely this looks to this? I mean, basically, they're both x's and they're both 4s. The only difference is the signs. The signs aren't right. So we are going to take out a -1. So that negative divided by negative is positive, and positive 4 divided by -1 is a -4. And now I do have my match. So if you don't see something that they have in common, you just take out a 1. Then write down your match, which is x minus 4, and take out that common factor. And then you're left with 25x squared minus 1. So 25x squared minus 1. And again, as it's not uncommon, that's a difference of 2 squares. That means we can factor that even more. So I'm going to have my x minus 4 that I'm going to bring down because I can't touch that. And then I have 25x squared minus 1. So what multiplies perfect square to get 25x squared is a 5x and a 5x, because 5 times 5 and x times x. And then 1 is actually a perfect square. Sometimes students forget about that, but technically 1 times 1 is 1. And I need a plus and a minus. All right, last one, and I wanted you to see a 6-term problem. When you have 6 terms, you're still going to treat it the same way in the sense that you're going to group. Let's group the first 3 and the last 3. And let's take out a greatest common factor. So of the first group, they all have x to the second power. So x to the fourth, take out x to the second. In other words, 4 of them, take out 2 of them, leaves you with 2 of them. Plus, we didn't touch that 7. You have 3, you take out 2, it leaves you with x to the first, or 1. Plus 10, didn't touch that, and x squareds just cancel. Here, we know 4 goes into them, but for the signs to match, we're going to have to take out a -4 because we need a negative divided by negative, negative divided by negative, negative divided by negative to give us a positive, positive, positive. So take out your -4, and that leaves you with x squared. -28 divided by -4 is positive 7x. -40 divided by -4 is a positive 10. And we have our match. So let's write down that common factor, that match that we have, and see what the leftovers are. X squared minus 4. Now, if we look at this, we definitely see this difference of 2 squares here. So we can keep going with that. But did you notice that this is a trinomial? And it can factor. Remember, multiply, add, multiply. And if you forgot how to factor trinomials, go check out my factoring trinomials videos. So here What multiplies to get x squared is x and x. What multiplies to get 10 but adds to get 7 is 5 and 2 with 2 plus signs. And then my difference of two squares, x and x. And then to get 4 is 2 times 2. I need a plus and I need a minus. If you need more practice on factor by grouping, be sure to check out my teaching video. There you can watch me work more examples, and you could even again pause the video and try them on your own. And I hope to see you next time.